8 years after Anne Elliot was persuaded not to marry a dashing man of humble origins, they meet again. Will she seize her second chance at true love? First of all, one of the biggest challenges for period novel adaptations is to combine the spirit of the original work with a distinctively modern sensibility. This movie is set in the Georgian era, but with a modern approach, and it fails in that regard. The problem lies with the adaptation and screenplay. In this version, they have completely changed Anne from a sweet, shy, and meek woman who is kind to a fault, to a rebellious, outspoken wine drunk. This new version of Anne is not the one fans know and love from the novel. In the novel, Anne is painted as clever, rational, and considerate to a fault. Her concern for the happiness of her family leads her to babysit for a sickly nephew, to cuddle her selfish younger sister, and give up the poor sailor she adores because her father doesn't approve of his lack of standing. While Anne still does all these things in the movie, her character shifts the emotional weight of these choices from regret to pointed resentment. Dakota Johnson does the best she can with the material she's given, and it's not her fault that the character seems all over the place. The subtlety of social criticism in the novel is destroyed with this character distortion. The script basically neglects most of the class commentary, yearning, and sadness of Anne's life. This ham-fisted adaptation misses the nuance of the novel and opts instead for rom-com sassiness. This quirky and light-hearted approach feels ill-suited to the subject material and like a blatant misunderstanding of the story being told. There are bits of dialogue that try too hard to bring the 1817 story into 2022, which comes across as awkward. The script creates cognitive dissonance in how it shuffles between using aggressively modern language and using lines directly from the novel. The modern dialogue collides clumsily with the original poetry, making a muddled path that's not grounded in past or present. The movie might have been trying to find a new angle to bring to the classic story, but all it does is highlight just how out of touch the overall tone is. To make it worse, the movie is breaking the fourth wall by having Johnson repeatedly make winking eye contact with the camera. It's such a tone-deaf approach, demonstrating so little sensitivity to the delicate precision of the novel. The film never quite centers on how limited Anne's options are and the treatment she's forced to endure from her closest environment because she has not married. Instead, her vulnerability is configured into comedic outbursts and juvenile games intended to aggravate the sisters she feels superior to. There's no sense of real pain between Anne and Wentworth as well, and both don't have enough chemistry to convince the audience of the tragedy of their having been split up. So when Wentworth writes his letter to Anne confessing his feelings, it doesn't feel earned without the lead up to it. This is not helped by the fact that this movie brings Anne and Wentworth together far more times than the novel ever did. Rather than letting the distance between them lead to classic pining, the movie forces them into interacting on friendly terms, and this ultimately diminishes the love story, which is supposed to be rife with longing. Overall, this movie is a major disappointment. We do not recommend this movie at all.